You guys remember a little while back I was telling you about how 10.2 is going to be the final patch of this expansion? I got some shit for that, a little bit. Some people thought I was crazy for saying such a thing. They're like, Sam, you're going off the calendar, and that calendar is only based off of 1 year. Why would you think that that means that that's the last patch? I told you. I said I don't see another raid tier coming out. I just don't see it happening. I think this main storyline is finishing out here. We're going to get a 10.2.5 and a 10.2.7 that'll really finish out the entirety of the story and tell us where Galakrond's going and everything like that after we kill Farak. But other than that, we're done here, boys. We're moving on to the next expansion. And people thought I was crazy. Well, think again. It looks like it has been confirmed that 10.2 will indeed be the final patch. Let's see why we now believe that. Shoot.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Reset, Taliesin and Evertel's Wanderer's Wisdom Show. And yeah, that was a 7 days, wasn't it? Not only did patch 10.1.7 Fury Incarnate release with new cinematics and story quests and Heritage Armor quest lines, and not only is Secrets of Azeroth now in full swing too, which is legitimately one of the best events in the entire game ever.
People have been loving that
thing. To the surprise of basically no one at this point, we also got the reveal and PTR of the next major patch, 10.2,
yes, 10.2
Guardians of the Dream, which to the surprise of basically no one, especially people who were watching this channel a whole year ago, is set in the Emerald Dream, centered around the new world tree. So there's a lot to talk about. To the extent where, and this feels really weird, I'm actually not going to talk about Fury Incarnate today at all. I've got lots I want to say about that patch, especially the Heritage quest lines, but this video is going to go out on a Tuesday. The new Velen Eredar quest lines will be out by then. I think it's probably best to hold off until next episode for that and do a proper analysis.
By the way, the Eredar quest line, which gives you the red Draenei, just quick side note, it also gives you a bunch of weapon cosmetics that nobody knew about for the Draenei. So that's pretty cool. More Draenei related stuff for the Draenei.
Today is all about this beautiful green stuff. So you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's
Nobody
really
loves Secrets of Azeroth.
Everything
well, I feel like we're getting good
reveal,
feedback.
Interviews and data mining of patch 10.2 so far. And help me decide if I think it's good or... It's the Emerald Dream. Firak is attacking the World Tree with the help of the Druids of the Flame because he wants to steal the power from it and create the Burning Dream. Because of course he does. He's Firak. He's put about as much thought into this plan as Flea does his wardrobe choices because he just loves power and he loves fire and everyone else can just suck it. So the zone itself is really interesting, being not just the Emerald Dream, but specifically...
Can I just say this is the second time that we're setting a tree on fire in this game? Creativity of these devs is top tier.
Specifically, the Emerald Dream version
of
that area in the ocean to the west of Anaran Plains and the Emerald Gardens, which is circled by suspiciously empty and unused islands and rocks. The map actually fits right over the top of that, utilizing those rocks as part of the zone and filling out the landmass in the center, which is mostly taken up with and under the shadow of Amirdrasil, the new world tree. Gosh, they just grow up so fast, don't they? This means, of course, that all of those predictions before Dragonflight even released that speculated that that big gap in the ocean circled by islands would seem a great place for a new world tree were, of course, spot on.
Okay, so I didn't realize this, but the world tree is going to come back out of the dream, right? It's gonna penetrate through the dream and come into our world, fully, erect and ready to go. That's great. I didn't know that the entirety of the island that it's connected to is gonna. I thought they were literally just gonna put the tree somewhere, but this is cool. There's basically going to be a new landmass off the coast of the Anaharan Plains. Nice.
The Emerald Dream, obviously,
that makes more sense than my idea.
Save file for Azeroth. It suggests that there used to be a landmass there on our Azeroth too, and I guess it's fair to speculate that was sunk in the Sundering. Secondly, more importantly, it continues Dragonflight's quite unique, unusual approach to patch zones as being areas that are not somewhere else away from the main expansion continent, like Nazjatar or Argus were, but rather places that were kind of there all along.
Hidden in the mist.
Zaralek was beneath our feet the entire time, with little hints of its existence sprinkled throughout the first act of Dragonflight.
The way they've done that is actually better
the Emerald Dream
in
version
Dragonflight.
of an existing zone. And I like how that grounds each new patch zone
Yeah.
in the Dragon Isles. Makes me think, will they be pulling the same kind of trick in 10.3? If there is a 10.3, more on that later.
There won't be a 10.3. And I've been saying that for months. So get off the fucking copia.
And if so, where, what will that be? And that's all very good and interesting, but if we're going to get through all of this, then we're going to have to start getting a bit more quickfire. So, Night Elves and other druids and green dragons have set up camp underneath the New World Tree in its roots, just like Nordrassil on Mount Hejal, which,
Nice.
if this is to become the new home of the Nelfs at the end of all of this, would seem to indicate this is where that new capital would be, beneath the tree like Nordrassil, rather than on it like Teldrassil. There are currently 4 chapters of main campaign storyline to play through, setting the scene.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that. So instead of being on top of the tree like Teldrassil, or Darnassus was technically on top of the tree, right? Like you were on the tree. So if they have a new capital city, Taliesin's saying it might be in the roots, that might be a little bit disappointing. I don't know. Depending on how they make it look, I guess. I kind of want it to be up in the tree.
In getting your bearings in the dream, battling the Druids of the Flame, learning what their deal is, and also helping Virinoth get together her old lieutenants and convincing primalists who are starting to have doubts jump ship and join us, just like Virinoth did. If Firak turns the world to fire, where am I supposed to live? Yeah, it seems like a reasonable fear when you think about it. Virinoth is just there and a fully fledged, enthusiastic part of the gang now. In fact, we've been told there is also a whole quest line where her and Rathian go off trying to recruit the misfit flights, like the Storm Drakes and Nether Drakes. Look forward to seeing that. You get given a new dragon
Storm Drakes
riding
are
mount,
badass.
the flourishing Whimsy Drake.
Everybody's gonna
just
get
for
this
turning
mount.
up in the zone. And as you can probably
doing the
see,
quest.
there's also a ton of side quests around this area too, which should get you neck deep in all that beautiful Emerald Dreamy lore and goodness. There's 20 renown levels with new faction Guardians of the Dream, which we haven't seen yet, but which we are told will be the standard collection of Drake customizations and other cosmetics. There's a new world event which goes on in the zone. Yeah, I know. Dragonflight's events are a bit of a meme at this point. It's like, hey, what's the new feature you've got in mind to wow us? And it's like, we've got a world event. And it's like, oh. And it's like, but this one is like a mega world event, which is like 3 world events, one after another. It's nothing like any world event you've ever seen before. And you're like, are you sure? Because it kind of feels like I have sort of seen it before in literally every other Dragonflight patch so far, sort of. I absolutely understand world event fatigue at this point. My heart sank when they brought it up in the reveal. But then I remembered that I always kind of enjoy them. I even enjoy Dream Surges, honestly, but don't tell anyone that because I want them to think I'm cool. And
Dream Surges were fine. So far, my favorite world event that they've done in Dragonflight was the time waste shit, just because the end bosses were kind of funny quirks on lore and everything. Otherwise, I haven't really done them that much. Like, I've done them when they come out. The Firak Assaults, I hated. I didn't care for them that much because they were annoying, and a lot of the bosses took a while for me to kill as a blood DK. So I just avoided them after a while. But by the way, he talked a little bit about world stuff. The world boss is not a, kill and loot world boss in 10.2. That tree that you've seen that like walks around and flowers come out from behind him, that's actually a transport the payload, like Overwatch 2 style world boss, where we got to protect that tree as he marches from one location to the other. So that's kind of a cool, new, refreshing take on world bosses, because previously world bosses have just been this mindless thing where you just show up and enter some random queue that shards you into another shard, and then the boss has already started being killed, and you just stand there and kill him too, and loot his corpse and not get anything, because you never get anything. This is better.
So let's be real. Anne
It's an
Stickney
improvement.
could sell me anything.
Maybe.
She
We'll
could be
find
like,
out.
hey, Tally, I really think you should check out this heel versus
He's high as
babyface
fuck,
Gracious
bro.
Hit CDs. I think it's right up your alley. And I'd be like, well, if you say so, Anne, I'll give it a go. So I'll give the mega event thing a chance. I promise. There's obviously new dragon riding courses, as you'd expect,
Yes.
and new dragon riding glyphs to collect with 2 new abilities. The best of which is a button with 3 charges that.
By the way, we also saw today, I keep pausing this because there's so much more news coming out than he's even talking about. Dragon riding races will also be coming to, I believe it was Northrend, Pandaria, and a bunch of other regular open world places. So dragon riding is going to be everywhere. Love it.
replenishes 1 vigor every time you press it. Massive OP. And also,
that's pretty
there's
badass.
a
A new
Pathfinder
ability
achievement
for
coming
dragon
with
riding.
patch 2, which enables
more
what we
vigor.
now will be calling non-dynamic flying, or swim flying, or
Regular flying.
old-style flying, or
Yeah.
oh god, it's so slow, just please, oh god, seriously, it's so slow. But at least I can hover flying. The raid is called Emirdrasil, the Dream's Hope. Emirdrasil, of course, the name of the tree, but for at least 7 of its 9 bosses, it doesn't happen on or around the tree at all, but rather in a big dragon facility in the northwest of the zone. There's a green bit we fight through, and then a fiery.
I will say the raid looks cool, and it looks like a better take
west
on
of the zone. There's a green bit we fight
on what's it called? On basically what we've seen so far, because the other 2 raids were just in caves, right? We were underground in caves. But I will say one thing: I think the Emerald Dream raid, like a raid in the Emerald Dream, could have looked a little bit cooler. It looks like another dragon facility, which to me, I didn't really, I think they could have done something way different. Because this looks like something we've already seen a little bit. Now it's cool that they made one zone, like he's about to say, one zone is like nice and green and still intact, and the other zone's been destroyed by Phyrax. So it creates 2 different dynamics in the raid. And the raid looks pretty. I just think it could have been a little bit cooler. It's an Emerald Dream raid. Make it dreamy. This looks like just a regular building that we could have seen in the Dragon Isles.
Fight through, and then a fiery bit we fight through, and then the penultimate boss, Tondral's Sage Swift, has what looks like 4 different phases for his 4 different druid forms.
He's got a
and
flying
each
part of the
phase
fight.
is a dragon riding section where we mount up on our drakes or whimsy drakes and chase him through
that
the
is one
air
badass
to the
looking
next
boomkin.
section.
Holy shit!
So yeah, a dragon riding boss. And okay, so the dragon riding is like a chase bit in between fighting bits rather than a fighting bit itself, but that's still a win. That's still a really great dub, especially as it gets us to the final confrontation against Phyrax, which does happen on the tree itself, which will be awesome.
Nice.
And kind of what the whole raid should be, in my opinion. But okay, sounds good. And since we're talking the raid, let's talk Season 3 and tier sets. Now, a lot of people were pretty down on the glimpses of the new tier sets that we saw in the reveal video, and I was too, because they didn't look very good. But looking at them properly on the PTR, I think I've totally changed my mind.
The Warlock tier set's great.
There are sets in here that aren't just stone cold bangers, but are literally, in my opinion, some of the best sets ever put into the game. Mage set, all-time classic set, like judgment levels of classic.
I hated the mage set when I first saw it. You guys know that. Everyone was against me on that, and I kind of do take it back. The mage set is actually pretty cool.
Sort out the hair clipping, whilst also keeping the hair showing underneath. Lose the hair as usual, and this is still a 10 out of 10.
The
The
animations
Death Knight set
good.
with its moving jaw and
oh my
seething
god,
rivers
what the shit? What, the jaw moves? Holy crap.
with its moving jaw and seething rivers of blood or poison.
Oh my god, the Death Knight set just got even better.
Or death, depending on the color variant, shoulder
Holy
pads,
crap,
and
that's so
spikes
badass.
coming out of the eyes. All-time classic set, mate.
Yeah,
The
this is
shaman
great.
gear with the animated
The wolf
wolves on the
heads
shoulders,
howling.
which are a visual representation of the 4-set bonus. All-time classic set, mate. People are down on the
No
warrior set, but I
way.
actually really like how smooth and beefy and juggernauty it is. Dude, even
warrior
Evoker
is
has a
kinda nice.
banging looking set in 10.2. Evoker! One set that people have been very critical of is the Druid ensemble.
Yeah,
but
I thought
actually
it'd be
think
better.
that works as a callback to Kata era sets, using that classic silhouette style, but with 2023 levels of high res. And especially when you consider this is the leather world set from questing and world content.
The world
and Aspen,
sets look
etc.
really good.
Druids are doing well in patch 10.2 in everything, as we will see. Almost everything, as we will see. Actually, the world sets in general are top tier, just like they were
they
in
look
Zaralek.
great.
Again, legit some of the best stuff in the game. And sorry, we were talking about Season 3, weren't we? The Creation Catalyst will be open from week 1 of the new season, but will only gain a new
That's
charge
right, get your tier sets
every
quick.
2 weeks. Still, most people will consider that a massive win. The thresholds for filling out the raid section of the Great Vault will be lowered from 3, 5, and 7
Finally.
bosses down to 2, 4, and 7.
Killing 3 mythic bosses was like legit impossible unless you were in a mythic raid guild. So it's nice that we were able to pug down 2 bosses and fill out a raid slot here. Like we used to do in the previous seasons and in Shadowlands. I don't know why they ever made it 3 to begin
bosses,
with.
which also means, of course, that you only need to kill 2 mythic raid bosses in a week to guarantee the sweetest of options there. Oh, and all dungeons completed from heroic level up will now count towards the dungeon tally in the Great Vault too, although obviously unlocking appropriate level options. Big dub there. 10.1's item upgrade system will remain in the new patch, but with much simplification in the currency side. Crest fragments are gone from now on.
Yeah.
Whole crests will just drop instead, and they are a currency that goes in your currency tab instead of in your bags. More dub than a nightclub in Hackney. Thank you. We've been told there will be extra upgrade tracks in the highest level gear in Season 3 as well, which might be why the season sees a much larger increase in overall
item. I didn't mention that. You will be able to upgrade further. Also, one thing he didn't mention that's in these patch notes here is that you will be able to, once you've reached a certain total level, item level of gear in all of your gear slots, so say you are totally geared out and you are 437 at least in every single item slot, you will be able to take your worm crests and turn them into aspect crests. So all that, gear grinding and everything is still running through raids that you've been doing or carrying somebody through a raid, you still get a benefit from it because you can still get crests that are valuable to you.
Thank
Which
you.
is nice.
We've been told there will be extra upgrade tracks in the highest level gear in Season 3 as well, which might be why the season sees a much larger increase in overall item level than we've become used to this expansion. Mythic Imidrisil will drop loot up to level 489, an increase of 36 levels over the equivalent gear from Season 2, as opposed to the 26 level upgrade we saw from
I want to be 500. Give me 500 item level gear.
Obviously the Whimsy Drake, which if you're a fairy dragon is the fairy dragon your fairy dragon girlfriend tells you not to worry about. There's obviously the standard collection of creatures from the zone, including cat raptors, which I just love. But don't forget the flying flaming owl that drops from Mythic Firak, or the Shadow Flame Firak, which you get for Ahead of the Curve, or the standard Firak.
Honestly, this is one of the best Ahead of the Curve mounts they've given us in a long time. I didn't like the one from Sepulchre of the first ones. The Krabby Boy, I didn't care for that one. It was like a small version of Halandras. Kind of looked like shit. This looks great. Oh, I'm excited about this one.
Which you get for Ahead of the Curve, or the standard Firak, which has a chance to drop from any difficulty. And speaking of Firak drops, don't forget
that legendary weapon
axe, which we don't know much about yet, but which we have had confirmed is a strength two-handed axe, which means that in the
DK Paladin Warrior
patch, there's a legendary that druids can't use, which
it's kind of funny.
Seems a bit weird,
and ironic.
It? Not that druids mind, of course, no, and especially not on the forums, where all the talk was about how excited druid
but the
players
druids
were
are getting
to
like
basically get an entire...
Like the thing is that even though the druid set doesn't look that great and they're not getting legendary weapon, they are getting some of the most amazing looking druid forms that they've ever put in the game. They look so good, their new druid forms. They got a lot of love, man. They need to calm down. Damn, shit can't be all about them. Even though it is the Emerald Dream, and it probably should be all about them. But it's not. It doesn't have to be.
Entire patch basically dedicated to them, and honestly, so what if they couldn't use the cool two-handed axe legendary from the final boss? It would surely just be greedy to demand that as well as the other cool stuff that Blizzard, and no, it was a shit show, obviously. Rip druids. That's a big L. Holy shit, IDK, how Blizzard can be so out of touch 90% of the time. Uninspired and unthematic. Lol, fish those tree-hugging hippies. Make it an axe with strength that only 3 classes can use. Fish everyone else. Way to read the room, Blizz. Good job. Really good job. Sarcasm. I get it.
Angry,
I do. But I'm not sure how much I can really bring myself to get upset on Druid's behalf in this particular instance, since these are their new Boomkin customizations in 10.2.
They get Boomkin customization.
These are their new travel forms. These are their new cat forms. And this is their new bear look.
This looks so badass. This looks so... Hey, what are you complaining about? You're just going to sit in this form all day. You're not even going to have your fucking tier set showing. If I were a druid, I'd be walking around like this 24/7.
Oh, and also, this is their new bear look as well. An owl bear for tanking. And should we be real, just for a second? That's better, isn't it? Admittedly quite cool axe. Owl bear form. Does that help druids? Are you feeling just a tinsy-wincy bit better now? Having all these new Boomkin options, though, does also suggest,
options look awesome.
that 10.2 will not be deleting Boomkins. So, sorry, swings and roundabouts. A quick look at some data mine stuff that was in this last week's build, which doesn't really fit in anywhere, really.
Next expansion.
Warlock motorbike mounts, which are obscene. Or how about the Dreadlord armor and wristwatches? Looks like Trading Post stuff, that, doesn't it? Or
yeah, the
how
wristwatch
about
gotta be
the
Trading Post.
Logosh and Sylvanas transmogs? Money is that these are either new store items for money, but don't forget you get tendies with them too. But more likely, in my opinion, BlizzCon digital ticket items, which would be pretty cool, actually. As always, we are including links to loads of Wowhead articles below, which go into this stuff in more detail, so you can enjoy looking at new models and things like that in your own time. But there are 2 questions I have to ask before we move on from 10.2 today. 1, is it any good? Fair. And 2, is it the last major patch of Dragonflight? Ooh.
Yes.
So, my impressions first. And I have
unequivocally, yes. Yes, we are finishing out the Farok story. I've already told you guys this. We're finishing out the Farok story. This is going to be the last raid. Now, everyone's like, but Sam, they didn't finish the story. That's what the 10.2.5 patch and 10.2.7 patches will be. And we're not going to get any more raid content. But Sam, this is a long time for the last raid to just be the last raid. Well, we're going to get faded raids, so don't worry. The faded raid content will carry us out a little bit further, and we'll be fine. I know. Everyone, but Sam, the chart is only for this year. There's going to be more next year. I know there's going to be more next year, but that doesn't mean there's going to be another major patch next year and another major season next year. This is it, boys. This is what you're getting. Yeah, but Sam, no, this is what you're getting. Deal with it. Okay, it's going to be all right. I'd rather get the next expansion than another patch, another raid patch in this expansion. It's okay. It'll be fine. We're going to be all right. We're going to move on from Dragonflight into the next expansion, and no one's going to care that we didn't get a 0.3 patch.
To admit, when the patch was revealed, I was actually in 2 minds about it. On the one hand, Emerald Dream is a big deal and very exciting. Not as exciting as maybe it could have been if we hadn't worked out that's where 10.2 was going to be before the game even launched. And honestly, that's
everyone
no
knew we were
going to
get Emerald Dream.
Big deal, especially with the new World Tree being part of it too. But I have to say, I feel this is the patch where Blizz kind of needed to mix things up a bit, because Defenders of the Dream follows a very recognizable Dragonflight patch template, which is good. Dragonflight is a banger expansion, and I am enjoying it thoroughly. But I don't think I'm alone in feeling like the game was ready in 10.2 to add something to the new patch mix other than a new world event. But
I think, people talk shit about BFA and stuff, but I think this patch they could have really, committed some fuckery like Corruption did and just kind of spiced things up a bit. I think they could have done that. Maybe. Just a little bit something, because yes, we knew we were going to get a new raid, we're going to get a new season of Mythic Plus, we're going to get a new area to run around in and explore some story shit in, we're going to get new world content, like all that stuff we already knew we were going to get them. So when they revealed them with a bit of Emerald Dream style flair to them, which we also knew we were getting, there wasn't really anything that mind-blowing or exciting about the patch. Like, we literally, I think you could have, like, AI could have generated this patch and we would have known, yeah, this is probably what's going to happen. But they could have given us something a little bit extra to spice the game up a little bit, especially the fact that this is probably the last major patch of Dragonflight. But, yeah, they added another currency. Yeah, that's the spice. Yeah, Blizzard loves to do that. But I think that's why this patch didn't generate that much excitement. Like, people are fine with it, but they're not really excited for it.
In 3 parts. The fact that the Mythic Plus dungeon pool only includes 2 Dragonflight dungeons, which are really 1 Dragonflight dungeon, and 6 dungeons from other expansions, feels like there's more reliance on reheating old content than the first 2 seasons had. And also, and look, I know these next things are purely subjective, okay? They are not real criticisms to be taken seriously. I know that, but just from a personal point of view, the new raid could have been in the new world tree, like on the branches of it, among the roots of it,
yeah, something more dreamy.
And instead, most of it is in our 3rd dragon-built facility of the expansion, on the other side of the zone from the tree. Also, and this is a really weird one, but maybe some of you will understand, I'm just not sure it's green enough. Yeah, this is so weird, because obviously the whole thing is green, right? The environment has got that same sort of thing going on as Zereth Mortis, in that it's all weirdly blue. There's like this bluish haze to everything, which means a lot of the time I'm thinking, wow, it's great in the Emerald Dream, just wish it was a bit more green, The Emerald Dream at the end of the Emerald Nightmare in Legion, that was green as rock. That was as green as Miss Piggy's
Right, he is
finger.
right.
This is just a bit blue. Like I say, not a real criticism to be taken seriously, but please let me know if you feel the same in the comments, because I think I might be
They just
going
need to turn up
mad.
the contrast
There is,
on the
though,
monitor a
an
little
important
bit, that's it.
footnote to this entire opinion of Guardians of the Dream. It was formed initially entirely from the presentation, and it has changed since playing the PTR. Because actually getting in there, doing the quests, flying around the zone, I've had a really good time. The zone itself
I'm sure you
is
did.
absolutely stunning, if a bit blue. Especially the tree, which feels significant. The gathering forces and the base camp make this feel like an event patch with genuinely high stakes. If being told about 10.2 left me less whelmed than I was expecting, playing 10.2 so far has brought that sense of excitement back, and I am all in. Which brings us to our final question. Will this actually be the final major patch of the expansion?
Yes.
Because Shadowlands, of course, did essentially end on its 0.2 patch, Season 4 being a fated 2.5 with no real new content.
Yeah,
that was
fated.
because of the shitty world situation we all went through for a couple of years back there. Except Ian Hazacostas and Steve Danusa still say, even now, that they always intended Shadowlands to be just a 2-patch ride, which obviously no one believes. But then, what if they were actually telling the truth? What if that's just the new normal? And Dragonflight has been planned in the same way. All the devs seem
I think
strangely
so.
unwilling to confirm or deny that there will be a 10.3 in this week's interviews. And there are other small clues too. The Shadowflame Firak mount is an ahead of the curve mount, as in
An
completing the raid
AOTC
on
mount?
Heroic before the season ends. And starting with the Moose and Hellfire Citadel, ahead of the curve mounts have only ever been a feature of the last raid of an expansion.
You don't
before
say.
now. It was also said in an
wow.
interview that 10.2 would see the conclusion of the tier storyline, which has been running throughout the expansion. And I don't know
Interesting.
about you, but I was expecting that to run right the way through Dragonflight. Maybe
is.
it is. And sure, devs have also said in this round of interviews that the story of Dragonflight is not over. But the story of Shadowlands wasn't over when we beat the Jailer. We got some really good epilogue quests in 9.25, which wrapped up Sylvanas and Tyranda's storylines.
That's right. Farak's story is going to be over. We're going to fucking kill him. He's going to be dead. Viranoth's story is going to continue on as a friend, as an ally, you know, torn between what she wants to do for the Primalists and everything. And Iridikron's story is going to end with him going into the Void and you know, and having sex with Void Elves. We already know that. So these stories are not going to end maybe as much as Farak's story is going to end, but they're going to have a conclusion in terms of their Dragonflight arc. And they will continue in the next expansion.
And if there wasn't going to be a 10.3, then you'd expect something similar in 10.2.5 with the resolution of the dream stuff, the probable appearance of the new world tree in Azeroth, and the Night Elves making it their new home. You don't need a 10.3 to do that.
No,
and sure, WoW head of data mined a cool blue armored drake skin, which is marked as the Season 4 Gladiator mount. But need I remind you, Internet, that Shadowlands also had a Season 4 with a Gladiator mount, but did not make it to a 0.3 patch. So is Firak the final boss of Dragonflight? I
think so.
Hope not. It would make a pretty good climax, narratively, I suppose. Dead Fire Guy and a good, on our side, or maybe nobly sacrificed Ice
I mean, that means you got 4 Primal Incarnates, and we would have killed 2 of them in this expansion, leaving 2 left. One has become our ally, and the other one is joined the Void. So there you go. All 4 have been taken care of.
World Tree appeared in the Dragon Isles, and the flights all back together, chilling out together, having fun, is a fairly solid resolution. With Iridikron and his Void buddies waiting in the wings for a nice big 11.0 reveal at BlizzCon, probably the week before or after 10.2 goes live.
There you go.
Fine, but I just like Dragonflight. I would love to see it continue, not just in terms of being a cool expansion, but also that incredible patch cadence. I don't want it to wind down into a fated season for 8 months at the beginning of 2024 while we all wait patiently for 11.0. But if you had asked me just a couple of weeks ago if I thought there would be a 10.3, I would have said yes, definitely, no doubt. And I still think there will be, but not definitely. anymore.
I don't think so.
I'm more doubtful about it than I've ever been. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And thanks for joining us today. Evertail was meant to join us right now for a So Free Talkie bit, but Penny, our youngest baby, didn't go to sleep for her nap today, so the hour we thought we were going to have, we didn't have. Parent stuff, you understand.
Happens, yeah.
You can still see plenty of Evertail on our Twitch streams, playing Baldur's Gate 3 times a week, and rest assured her face will be back all over this channel in the build up to 10.2. If you like this episode, don't thank us, thank our patrons who give their actual real-life money to make all of our work happen. And guys, seriously, thank you, because without you, there would be a whole lot less Taliesin and Evertail. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it.
No, it gets an upvote. It was good.
And Stickney. No, my name is Taliesin. From me and Evertail, and Nyrin and the non-sleepy Penny too. Until next time, cheerio.
What a great video, and what a great, somewhat of a validation of what I've been telling you guys. Now, you know, my predictions, they usually happen. Pirate expansion, maybe not. One of my lesser predictions. But hey, Blizzard did pull a fucking... They tricked us on that one, alright? All I was doing was following the typical cadence of how they hinted at expansion, they give it to us. Well, Blizzard fucked around with us on that one, okay? There's nothing I can do about it. But will 10.2 be the final patch? I surely think so. I think this is the end of Dragonflight in terms of raid content. But this is not the end in terms of storyline and, you know... sure, PvP seasons and everything else, and faded rating. But it is the end in terms of storyline. Like I said, we have 4 Primal Incarnates. Razagath, we killed that bitch. Farak, we're gonna kill that bitch. Viranoth, we're gonna have sex with that bitch. And Galakron, he gonna go have sex with some Void Elf bitches. So they're done. All 4 stories have either ended in a horrible death, or are set up to continue on into the next expansion. That's it, boys. Follow me to the promised land. I teach you things here.